let's start the pod. Welcome to another edition of Splitting Hairs podcast with Max, Nicky, and Nickon. As usual, I am Max.
I'm Nicky.
I'm Nickon.
And together we're Max, Nicky, and Nickon. Yay!
We did it.
We did it.
What's our top? What's the order of operations here?
Yes. Well, I'll say the topic, and then we'll talk about some podcast news real quick. But the topic today is regular cigarettes versus e-cigarettes / vaping. Which is worse or more tolerable?
And this is from the perspective of a non-smoker. Correct?
Right. None of us smoke. Exactly.
Well, since this is being recorded, I'm not going to admit to anything because I don't trust the insurance companies. But let's just say that every once in a while, I'll enjoy a cigarette.
You just said.
I know.
You just contradicted everything. So you said, I'm not going to admit, which are
well,
already is an admission.
It didn't seem like you got what I was what I was trying to say, and I didn't want to. Anyway, well, there it goes. There goes my insurance premium. Thanks a lot.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, so I'm gonna. Does anybody feel strongly about this? I just in my mind, it's like not even a competition. Like cigarettes are so much more obnoxious.
Anyway, but before we get to
that's right, Cammy. All are worse and intolerable. What is worse?
Yeah, what's
the
the lesser of two evils, as they say, right? But before we get to that, let's talk about some station business.
Station business. Bum ba-dum.
What's that?
I don't know.
It's the jingle for station
jingle
business.
for station business.
What's station business? That's a thing?
Well, it's
do we have any shows coming up?
No, but like we have a jingle, or did you just make
that's something that
no, we don't. Max just came.
Well,
came
I
back.
kind of came up with it when we first were doing the podcast. I kind of made something up on the spot. It was like station business. I kind of just did that as a thing, and I just bringing it back. I'm bringing it back.
I love it.
Bringing it back.
Station business.
Station business. Do we have any shows coming up? Well, if you're in Brooklyn, if you want to catch Max and me perform, we haven't put this on sale yet, but we got another Vintage Basement coming up next month. But
venue to be determined.
Venue to be determined.
Determined.
But the last one went really well. So that was cool.
Nice, excellent.
And
my only station business is go to onusoptics.com and buy some goddamn sunglasses.
Yes, right. But what's special about these sunglasses, Nickon?
They protect your nose from the sun, from the elements. You don't want to get that pesky skin cancer on your nose.
No, you do not.
No, you do not. Actually, in cold weather, another reason to, if you want to wear your mask in cold weather, is because there are.
Biking.
Well, there's fighters in your nostrils, in your nose, that help attack bacteria coming in through there. Actually, they're finding obviously you have like whatever T cells or whatever it is that are fighting inside your body.
It's very scientific.
Fighting viruses. But apparently they're finding that in your nose itself, separated from your inside your body, there are agents that help attack viruses entering through there. So, and when it gets cold, they become less active, in fact.
So you should cover your nose is what you're saying.
That's right. That's right.
Nice. All right. Look at that. Science Corner with Max. Speaking of corners, do we have a grammar corner for today?
Grammar corner.
The jingles.
What's today's episode grammar corner going to focus on, huh?
I don't have anything particularly.
Nothing's really pissed me off this week.
Let's talk about the age-old sort of pet peeve, using the word "like" too much.
Okay, well, this doesn't have to do with grammar necessarily, but we'll just put it part of grammar color.
I like it. Well, okay, well, go on. You started talking about
Well, no,
this.
we don't have to talk about that.
I mean, I think we all agree. Listen, we all agree we'd all be better off if we used like less. Like nobody who overuses like is proud of it. I think we can all agree that the overuse of like is it's not something anybody's proud of. Nobody's like, I'm perfectly okay with the amount of likes I insert into a paragraph. But do we have any tips? Do we have any tips for people?
Yes.
Who might wanna
okay,
I
work
have a
on-
tip. I have a pro tip.
Okay.
Here's a hot
Let's hear
tip
it.
and a pro tip. Just take your time while you're speaking. If you speak more slowly at times, at least you'll identify the moments that you normally would say like, which kind of ends up being filler. It's a word to fill the space.
Yeah, we're talking to
But
you,
just
Cammy.
take your time, slow down. If you sound slower, that might sound a little off-putting, but you'll get more used to it over time, and then pretty much you'll eliminate the likes from your vocabulary.
What if you have co-hosts that are constantly cutting you off, so you can't afford to talk any slower?
I apologize if that happens.
No, I think we all cut each other off.
I've got a pro tip, and this is goes back to a bit that we started doing maybe a year and a half ago, where
don't burn the material.
I say that I don't like using the word like, so I want to stop using it. So from here on out, I'm going to stop using the word like. And every time I want to say the word like, I use the word as instead.
That's pretty good.
But then the bit goes where I'm replacing the word like,
Georgie,
even
sorry.
when it's appropriate. Like,
Georgie.
when I say, "Oh, I like that person," I say, I say, "Oh, I as that person."
That's really funny. That's
Right. Well, we've been...
Good. Love you too, Mana. Georgie, stop it. Sorry.
We love you.
The petting zoo. The petting zoo is.
Hey there, Georgie girl. Ba, 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 ba.
Georgie.
Something like that.
You guys
Something
know
like
the Seekers
by the Seekers. Georgie. It's Georgie girl, right?
That's true.
Yeah, it's Georgie Girl. I looked it up after last week's podcast. It is indeed Georgie Girl, and I the only reason I even knew about it was because of Blimpy Boy from The Simpsons. Did we talk about this last time?
There, Blimpy boy.
Blimpy Boy.
Yeah. Wait, what you said something just a couple minutes ago that reminded me of
The Seekers. The Seekers have they have some good tunes. Like
There were part.
bum 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 bum.
If you guys don't know the Seekers, they were a part of that.
That sounds like
whole,
Pretty Woman. I know it's not Pretty
folk
Woman, but it's
pop
awesome.
revival of the '60s.
That's pretty one.
That's
They're
true.
from Australia. Anyway,
Maybe it's
you
just
guys,
their use of the bass.
you guys ready to
Huge band in the '60s. Huge. They review.
There's a lot of people in the band, the Seekers. A lot of people.
There's only 4, I think.
Wait, did we do a grammar thing? What was it? Oh yeah, like. Okay, so talk slower. I found that just by being aware of it, what I like to do is what I as to do. That's a funny bit, guys. I like that. Is just just catch yourself as you're about to say it, and instead of saying it, you just don't. It's as simple as that. I know. Well, it sounded stupid as I finished the sentence, but I was already too far down the line. All right, let's get into it. Right.
All right, let's get into the main topic, guys. But before we do, just want to remind you all, if you enjoy what you like and hear today, make sure to go on whatever podcast streaming site you listen to this on. Make sure to rate and review
YouTube,
us. On YouTube,
follow us.
subscribe, follow us.
And
YouTube.
watch it on
likes,
YouTube because
stars.
because this Instagram Live will end fairly soon, I'm sure. So watch the rest of it on YouTube.
Yeah, give us an update on your battery. What's your battery?
Well, I'm
at?
afraid to go off of Instagram Live to check the battery.
Okay,
Anyway.
All right,
but
so,
let's get into it.
Enjoy this, people.
Topic
Yeah,
at hand.
let's get into it.
Cigarettes, regular
I'm
cigarettes
gonna-
versus
E-cigarettes.
e-cigarettes. Which is worse or more tolerable?
Which is worse as a spectator?
Yes,
as a bystander.
Yes, as
As
a bystander.
Yeah. So you guys mind if because I just feel like it's way too. It's just like it's so obvious to me. So I'm gonna be the moderator here.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess you're right. Well, I haven't moderated in a while, and
I haven't moderated in a while, but I've only moderated once, to be honest.
Oh wow.
Okay. Well, then Nicky should maybe be the moderator on this.
Well, who feels strongly in what direction?
I mean, I feel very strongly, but I'm
I feel
sure all of us do, right?
I'm sure all of us
What?
feel strongly that
There's no.
What? Let's all say it at once. 1, 2, 3. Cigarettes
E-cigarettes are worse.
tolerable. Wait, what'd you say?
are more tolerable.
Wait.
What did you say?
What's worse? On the count of three, what's worse?
What's worse? 1, 2, 3. Cigarettes.
E-cigarettes.
E-cigarettes. E-cigarettes. Yeah.
You guys think e-cigarettes?
Yeah.
Are worse? As a bystander.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Well, then I got to take the cigarette side, and and so Nicky will moderate.
Okay.
All right. Opening statement. Well, you moderate and tell us what to do.
All right. Well, Max is going to be taking the side of e-cigarettes are worse as a bystander, and Nickon is taking the side that regular cigarettes as a bystander are worse. Nickon, why don't you start us off? Opening statement.
I mean, however bad, it's like however bad either of those things are to a person. No, that's not the angle I want to take. Cigarettes are stinky, right? If you sit next to someone smoking a cigarette, you are smelling something that smells bad. When you are sitting next to someone smoking an e-cigarette, that actually smells quite delightful. It's like, yeah, I mean the stinkiness alone, and also I haven't done my research, but I'm pretty sure you don't get like secondhand, what do you call it? The secondhand smoke effect from vape stuff. Like you don't you're not more inclined to get lung cancer from e-cigarette secondhand smoke than you are from cigarettes.
We don't know.
I'm willing to I don't know. For the sake of my argument, obviously.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I just looked at what Cami just said. She said.
What'd she say?
She was eating in a restaurant before.
Secondhand vape. Yeah.
Next to a guy, and he had an e-cigarette that exploded in his lap.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
Kinda, yikes! It was in his pocket or what? Like, wow, that's fascinating.
Well, here's what. Okay,
that's your opening statement?
It's the smell. It's the smell, and it's the and also cigarette smokers, unless you're in like Nevada, have to be outside. They have to be outside of wherever you are.
That's the good thing, though. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Right. So, wait, what the? Oh wait, but I'm saying shit. But no, no, you're right. Damn it. All right. Well, yeah, I gave you that one. Okay. It's still worse. It's actually still worse to experience as a bystander.
All right.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Actually,
Max, go
I'm
ahead.
going to bring up that point exactly, actually, because this is what I was going to say is e-cigarette smokers feel more inclined. For some reason, they feel that even though many restaurants, they say you can't know vaping inside, because it's so very much easily at their disposal, they can hide it in their purse or their sack or whatever,
or in their
pocket,
lap.
In their lap, and just
very
their
sack? Did you say in their sack?
I did say in their sack.
Like hide it in their sack, yeah.
In their ball sack, they hide it in there somehow. They like
how do
roll
you
it
hide
up
something
inside
in your ball
somehow.
sack? You kind of put it underneath.
I happen to hide 2 balls in my ball sack at all times.
Well, they hide it between their penis and ball sack somehow. Anyway, they feel that they feel that there's some sort of entitlement or something like that, or they feel they can surreptitiously do it anyway. Whereas a cigarette, first of all, because it's stinkier and smellier,
I don't think it's
be easily
entitlement.
noticeable, and you don't have to with a cigarette. Once you light it, you can't go back. You're wasting a cigarette. Whereas an e-cigarette, you can puff it, surreptitiously put it back, so people feel like they can.
That's what's delightful about
Max,
it.
No, that's
like,
what's
all right,
horrible about it.
Whatever.
They feel like
no
they
hair off my chest or whatever the thing
That's
is.
the problem. That's the problem. They feel like they can do. There's more
off my
times
back.
in the
Sweat off
day that they're going to be doing it.
Well, Max, let me just.
But we're talking about bystanders. We're not talking.
I know
we're
as a
Max,
bystander.
can I correct you real quick?
I do not like when people do it in restaurants, and because that vape
Of
smell
course,
does.
it was at a Hooters. Sorry, I just saw Cammy's last.
Yeah, he was at a Hooters.
Cammy sounds like a fun person with all the
she
likes.
helped us cut our hair during the quarantine. She gave us tips over
fantastic.
Instagram Live.
Tips for our hair tips, actually.
But Max, can I just revise what you just said?
Yeah.
E-cigarette smokers feel like they can get away with smoking indoors.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but you didn't say it succinctly like that.
I don't feel.
But Max,
it's
you're,
not
Max,
just that.
but
Not-
Max,
that's not all I'm saying.
But Max, you're wrong. But you're wrong about the regular cigarette smokers. They can put out a cigarette and save it for later.
No,
Actually,
well,
right?
How does that
course.
work? Actually, yeah, I guess
You
you
just stop it.
Yeah, you
can.
just put it out. You put it out, and then you let it later.
Yeah.
Okay, but I
Not
think,
that I know insurance companies.
No, that okay. No, when you put out a cigarette, you're kind of you generally what do you do? You generally mash it, right? You kind of
No, Max.
No, you just put it. You just do it like you can't.
Yeah, you can stop it from burning.
You just do like a little. You do like.
all right. I guess so. Sure. All right. Fair
Anyway,
enough.
So we agree that cigarette smoking is
Okay,
worse.
well, in any event, cigarette smoking is going to be more noticeable, though, in a restaurant, right? And generally people don't smoke when they go outside.
You know why they don't? Because it's way worse. Because it's way more obnoxious. It's way.
It's not way more. I don't think it's more
way more
obnoxious.
obnoxious. Let me explain why. I get annoyed with that vape smell actually, and it gets on your clothes actually.
And let's
No, it
face
does not.
Yeah, it
no, it
does.
does not.
Here's the ultimate thing, guys.
That
by the
doesn't
way.
get in your clothes. The vape. Listen, I can't. We gotta talk through this.
Nickon,
it does not
feel
stay in
it
your
does.
clothes.
Nickon, I just got to say this though.
What?
Look, we can
You
all
could-
argue
you
that
could
with a regular
smoke a vape
cigarette.
through
Nikki, hold
your
on, Nikki,
shirt.
before you go into this
And
argument.
it's not going to stick in your clothes. You can
here's-
literally.
can we
hot
all
box
agree
your
with this?
t-shirt.
Let me.
Oh, wait.
Nikki, I know what you're about to
What's
say,
that?
Nikki, and I don't.
What's that T-shirt you're wearing?
Oh, Patti Smith.
Oh,
Patti
okay.
Smith does a birthday concert at Brooklyn Steel every year.
Oh, cool.
And I've gone the last couple of years. It's really rad.
Oh, awesome.
She puts on
Well,
a hell of a show.
sorry, Nikki.
Yeah.
I know what you're about to argue right now, and before you do that, I don't feel like it's a valid enough argument for
Well, let's
the
let
beginning
him.
here.
No,
Let's let him
let's-
make the
no, but I just
invalid
wanna say-
argument.
No, 'cause
I just want to say
This
because
isn't
Nickon,
Minority Report, Max, of arguments. Let him get the thing out.
I want to
first.
say that Nickon.
I know what he's about to say.
Nickon just
Let him
because
say
Nickon just said it's more obnoxious regular cigarette smokers, but I don't agree. Check this out. If you're smoking a regular cigarette, we can all agree that you look a little bit cool, right?
Oh, of course.
But
Yeah. if
with
we're
a
talking
regular with an
about-
e-cigarette, you do not look cool. You look stupid. I'm sorry,
You look
guys, if
stupid.
you smoke
That's true.
e-cigarettes.
That's true.
And in
Okay.
fact, I was walking down the street just a couple days ago, and I saw this girl.
So
Just
you're saying there's a benefit to being in the presence of someone who looks cool? Oh, I guess because we're talking about obnoxiousness,
I
right?
saw this girl with her e-cigarette. This was outside too, and she was just sucking on the end of the e-cigarette. She wasn't even smoking it, and I was thinking, oh, e-cigarettes are like adult pacifiers, essentially.
So are cigarettes. There's
No, but this is worse,
oral,
where they're like-
they
fixation
are.
thing,
It's
right?
an oral fixation type of thing.
They are both oral fixation
Like,
things,
I
but
chew on my pens all the time. I'm constantly chewing on pens. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
but you
but-
just look stupider with an
But
e-cigarette.
you
I'm
don't.
sorry.
You generally don't. You don't.
You look like a writer
as
with
an-
that.
What's the
as I said,
smartest
though,
thing? I
as
think
I
a
s-
pair of glasses, a pair of spectacles is the smartest thing you could do having in your teeth, right? 'Cause
Doesn't
it's like, oh,
Jim Gaffigan have a joke like that where
Does
he's
he?
like,
He does.
he's
yeah.
like, don't I look smarter when I just put my glasses in my mouth?
Oh, there you go.
Well, anyway, I do want to mention though. Yes, here's an okay. Even if maybe I'm wrong about it sticking on your clothes, and yes, that is an argument
Thank
for you.
You know what? Thank you for admitting it because
Okay.
you are 100% wrong.
Okay, and you can argue also that cigarette smoke will definitely stay with your clothes.
Yeah, no, that's for
Yes,
sure.
definitely.
But here's and you can also argue, Nickon, that cigarette smoke makes your breath smell worse. Actually,
breath smell worse.
but here's
and
here's
again,
the thing,
I don't
though.
think you get secondhand vape.
Yeah, well, we don't
as
know.
someone
This
going-
is the problem I have with with vapes, is that the science isn't out yet on it, and
Sure.
we don't know what the problems that it could cause are. And so people think
explode
People think
your lap.
that they can just
your lap,
willy nilly
which is
any time
I-
of the day, any
It's kind of a
time,
benefit, I think.
anytime, use e-cigarettes wherever, whenever they want, without it affecting people around them. And even when restaurants specifically say no cigarettes, e-cigarettes, or anything, they still
Right,
feel
but let's
feel
also-
like they have they still feel like they can get away with it or have
This is a
some
bit of
right
a
to be
tangent
able to
here,
do it.
but the restaurants, to be clear, are saying that not because they love rules. They're saying that to cover their own asses. They're saying, hey, like, no, don't smoke vapes because like we don't know what that's going to do to people.
Exactly.
So
Exactly my point.
As long
Exactly
as
my
we
point.
say don't do it here, we're at least covering our asses, right?
Okay, fair enough.
But
fair enough.
But that's not like that doesn't. I don't know that. it's the restaurant. They don't know. They don't know what is or isn't gonna cause secondhand smoke.
That's the point I'm trying to make. We don't know.
You don't want explosions happening in your restaurant.
But we don't know as a population. We don't know yet. And I feel like the e-cigarettes companies, it's almost as if the cigarette companies,
the regular cigarettes companies
thought, okay, we've lost
analog cigarettes.
We've lost a whole generation. We've lost generations. When we, in the 90s, when they finally went to court and finally there was an admission that, hey, this causes cancer and all these problems. Even though we've known for years. Well, anyway, it seemed as though the cigarette companies thought, how can we target the young generation and future generations? I know we'll create e-cigarettes. There's no smoke there.
We'll make it appeal to the younger generation with technology.
Nicky, that's a good point, Nicky.
Max, you see, you're so quick to judge
what I'm going to say something.
I'm the moderator here.
Yeah, but in Max's defense, he was in the middle of saying something when you cut him off. But in Nicky's defense, let him say stuff too.
Okay, but Nicky could say that after, because I'm not done with my point, which is, it seems as though the cigarette
companies got a lot
of
points, actually,
disguised themselves as this advanced technology. Hey, this isn't problematic. It's not. There's no smoke. It's just vape.
It's new.
It's vapor. Yeah. This is cool. And you know what? We have these different flavors for you. Let's target the young teenagers, these young kids, so that we have lifelong clients. And
of course, that's what they do with cigarettes too. I guess
they used to be able to do that
They're
with cigarettes.
Pulling the wool over these kids' eyes.
Over the kids' eyes, and now we have all these cigarette companies used to be able to do that, but they don't. They can't. As I said, in the 90s, they were outed, even though it seemed crazy to me that people didn't. A lot of people knew for a long time, but they finally
what
is
this driving to though, as far as your stance on
my stance?
As far as his stance goes,
obnoxious. Yeah. So.
Well, to me. It seems obnoxious to me that
listen to a past
it seems
episode,
obnoxious
folks,
to me that because these e-cigarette companies have pulled the wool over the eyes of the young demographic.
Yeah.
You have all these young people thinking I can do this wherever and whenever I want without any repercussions, and so they do in wherever you go, on the train, I
think they know there are repercussions.
They don't know the repercussions.
It's just the nihilism. It's the same nihilism that drives people to smoke cigarettes. They're like, this is probably killing me, but I don't know.
Max,
can
I just say something, Max?
I don't agree with that.
It's short-term thinking is what it is.
Max,
they're like, this is killing me, but whatever. That's
Max,
like
can I say something?
I see them doing in restaurants all the time. Okay, go ahead, Nicky.
Shake hands really quick. Shake hands. Just really quick.
I would say that people smoke their vapes. People vape way more often than people smoke regular cigarettes because it's more easily accessible and they feel like they can do it anywhere, right? And so maybe they are killing themselves at a faster rate because of it.
Yeah, we don't know.
And
but also you don't want an e-cigarette exploding in your mouth, by the way.
Well, and because it's just one e-cigarette.
There are only a couple things I want exploding in my mouth, and one of them is not an e-cigarette.
Hold on. We have to move on to a new Zoom meeting, actually.
Folks, we are going to start a new Zoom link real quick,
should we just
continue to stay here on Instagram Live?
Max's phone's going to die
we will
anyway.
continue the conversation in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and we're starting now. So, just to refresh, we had a bit about where you replace all your likes with the word as.
Don't summarize the bit. Do the bit or don't do the bit.
Well, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Well, it's a whole thing. And the funny part about it in the end was that I replace as with like in the end. It was something like that.
I like it.
Anyway, so we were talking about how
e-cigarettes.
Well, I do want to say, Nicky was saying they're more accessible. It is true that in restaurant, I think also because they have this one e-cigarette that's just rechargeable, people don't people a cigarette is kind of valuable to somebody, so they're not going to just light it up and then quickly put it out or something like that. They feel like they take their time with it, and they do that sparingly. I feel. I mean, unless you really are a chain smoker and you're in a environment.
But how does that
where you're doing
relate? But again, how does that relate? What are we trying to say here?
to a bystander? When you're inside spaces, people with e-cigarettes will just use them willy-nilly.
Max, let me paraphrase. People with e-cigarettes are more likely to invade your personal space with their vaping.
See, I think that's where we disagree fundamentally.
Because,
I don't,
you know why?
I don't
Because
see it as an invasion of space, because it's just a little puff of little
I don't like
delightful
it.
smelling whatever, and then it goes away. Cigarettes.
If you're on an airplane,
I don't like it.
You'll never see
cigarettes
somebody
are an
smoke
invasion of. No, people
on
don't
an
vape
airplane.
On airplanes.
But you
That's
will see
insane.
people try to get away with smoking e-cigarettes on an airplane. In fact,
No.
oh yeah, and I lost it.
Well, actually, here's the thing,
forgot
though.
what it-
I remember these kids I used to work with, they were in their late teens, early 20s, and they were talking about getting new cartridges or new flavors for their e-cigarettes or their vape pens. And I just thought, whoa, this is crazy. I mean, they didn't smoke before that, And I just thought, whoa, what a shame. And this is just this.
I
kind
think
of
we need
irks
to
me.
change the name of this podcast to kids these days. It's like literally.
It really should be.
Yeah,
it's
but
not-
they were doing that with cigarettes until e-cigarettes came up. It was the same
Exactly.
thing with cigarettes.
So right now, I'm saying
at
right
least
now, I'm saying right now, currently e-cigarettes or vape pens or whatever you want to call them.
We should change it to kids.
I'm saying
It's these days,
currently
I tell
they are more intolerable.
All right. Well,
That's really funny, actually. That's
I'm sure
a
I
great
would have
name
thought.
for a podcast.
I'm sure I would have thought differently 50 years ago or something like that. If e-cigarettes,
your mind would have been blown 50 years ago if e-cigarettes. If everything was the same except there were also e-cigarettes.
my mind would have been blown and my e-cigarette would have blown.
Yeah, in your pants, on your lap.
in my pants, yeah, in my balls, in my sack,
in your sack. Yeah.
in my sack.
So that reminds me of an Arj Barker joke where he's like, you hear about these guys, that get cancer and they got to get a ball removed. And I think those are true underdog stories. There's this guy I heard about. He lost one of his balls and he went through life thinking, is that it? Is that it for me? But he picked himself up by the bootstraps, and years later he went on to create a very successful pen company. You guys haven't heard of Uniball?
God, it's like that whole setup for this pun, basically.
Well, that's what's funny about it is
basically.
he does this really long setup for this stupid joke, which makes it funny,
Yeah.
Right. He also is just the way he tells a joke is so funny. He's so good at delivery too.
No
Also-
offense, Nicky.
What? No
I
offense.
said no offense. Yeah.
Oh no,
Well, it's not my joke.
No,
here's
I'm
a-
kidding.
Here's another
No,
thing,
no, no.
Nickon. I guess I am irked by the flavors. Actually, it's almost like, hey, we're going to disguise
But
this as
it's
something.
better than cigarette flavor.
No, but here's the thing. It's like they're going to it's just egregious to me. We're going to disguise this something as something playful and fun smelling, even though this is harmful to you. There's something that really there's something
I will say this, Nickon.
just egregiously hypocritical or something about that.
Here's
I
something.
really don't think most people who vape think that it's not bad for them. I think
know,
they're
but
just as nihilistic as a traditional cigarette smoker.
No, I don't think that. I think though that it's targeted towards people that think, oh, flavors.
Well, they
how
don't
exciting.
have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, and therefore they just make rash decisions when if they thought about it and weighed the pros and cons, they would be less likely to.
Well, hey,
but that's the
that's
case
the
with
thing.
cigarettes too.
I will
Yeah.
say this,
Well,
Nickon.
no, cigarettes aren't able to target kids anymore because they don't.
Well,
make
e-cigarettes
ads for
aren't
that.
able to target kids anymore. Like they're not allowed to advertise to kids. It's
Is
just
that a
more
thing?
appealing.
They've
yeah,
legislated
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
But okay, like,
Max, can I say a couple things, Max?
but
Because I'm the moderator after all.
It is more appealing because of the flavors to kids. Anyway, go ahead.
Man, Max sure is talking a lot in this
I'm
episode.
passionate about this. You brought up the topic. I didn't. I'm just telling.
I do want to say two things. One is I have gotten people to stop sucking on their vape pens or whatever they call it, e-cigarettes indoors by sort of giving them the stink eye. I kind of look at them. I'm like, and I do.
Kids these days.
I kind of do like a shake in my head, and I notice these people, they will put the thing down and they'll put it away. And every time they try to pick it up, I look at them and they put it back down. And I'm like, I'm helping them. But also want to say that I used to wait tables, and I waited tables in Soho in New York City. For those of you who are watching outside New York City, Soho is like sort of the fashion district area, very kind of bougie.
Bragging
kinda,
about the fact that he was a waiter at one point, or that he was in
So just
Soho?
anything with.
No, I'm just kidding.
I did
know.
blah 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 in Soho. It's like okay,
bougie
all right.
kind of place. And I once had to wait on a party for the company JUUL. It was a company party.
Oh man, I don't know if I could have
And
done that.
I really
what did you do?
had a hard time wrestling with, should I wait on these people or not? Should I tell my boss, like, I don't feel right, working for, with these, like working for these people, waiting on them. But in the end, I realized, well, I got to make my money somehow.
Yeah.
And in
How'd they
fact,
tip?
I did wait on a couple of Fox News
Oh,
anchors before, or
Damn.
hosts. And you want to know something? This
Terrible
one guy that
tippers.
works at Fox News. On Fox News, he
Name
seems like
names.
such a horrible guy. But
What's his name?
He was one of the nicest
Carlson?
guys.
Tucker Carlson.
No. He was one of the nicest guys.
There's no way Tucker Carlson's an actual good person.
No way.
There's no way.
I wouldn't wait on him. But
How-
it
no,
was this
however,
guy. I
yeah.
can't remember his name. He was on that show, The Five, or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not that.
Aren't you
Aren't you
well
versed in the Fox News world?
programming?
Nickon?
Well, I am writing a musical about Fox News, but it's not.
What?
Well, I
About
knew
the
that you were writing. I
the
knew you were writing a
fact-checking
music, but I didn't know it was
department.
about Fox News.
It's like a satire. Like, what if Fox News had a fact-checking department? That's basically the kernel.
You're doing that now? Who are you working
well, that's
with
a big.
on that?
That's a topical thing,
solo
right?
now. Yeah.
Really? Are you writing the music?
I'm writing the lyrics right now. But yeah, I want to run it by you guys to get some feedback, maybe some I don't know.
Yeah, it could help you out too. if
Tune
you wanted
writing
to.
collaboration, yeah.
But
that's
this guy was really nice. So I ultimately decided, well, these people that work for JUUL, it's a weird thing. You're like,
Because they have money,
They
and you want
do
it.
such bad things,
Yeah.
or they promote this company, yet there could be nice people that work for the company. It's just
Well, you can
it's
be
hard to
nice and evil.
right?
That's true.
But I think what makes more sense in this case is that we all do all kinds of evil deeds all day passively that we're not aware of, just by whatever, like any excess amount of money that you make that you aren't like putting in someone else's, like toward a malaria foundation or whatever, could be argued is immoral.
Well,
right?
okay,
You make
I
exactly
can-
enough money to survive, and then the rest should go. Like from like a pure. Anyway, this is a tangent.
That's a
But the point
philosophical
is-
conversation that we could have
Yeah,
in
yeah.
another debate.
But I think it's what do they call it when you it's not like dissociative, but it's like you could be a good person, like truly like do good deeds throughout the course of your day, whatever. But like you just landed in some job at some company, and you're like, well, you don't see you don't see the body bags, right? You don't see people like dying, so like you just literally don't associate what you do with the impact that it has in the world.
Remember those
It's
truth commercials where they would show the body bags?
Yeah, that can't. Yeah, they did
The
a lot of that.
campaign with the body bags.
Yeah, it's not even. Like a little bit of rationalization, a little bit of just sweeping it under the rug. It's like, okay, yeah, some stuff happens after I do my marketing stuff, and then yada yada yada. Millions of people die every year, but like that's over there, and I'm just working on copy, or whatever it is.
Right.
Well, that's kind of how we think about you can argue the computers that we use, you know, they're made in these sweatshop conditions,
yeah.
and we're all, you know,
Bunch of douchebags.
we're all using them. But I mean, at the same time, yeah, you know, I mean, you can argue that, but how else are you going to use a computer? We need a computer though to survive in today's society, right? So
Yeah.
unless you build everything, like all the chips and everything from scratch and know how to do that, I mean, how else are you
Yourself?
Gonna do it?
Yeah, that would be a very time consuming endeavor, and probably would cost you like, I don't know, $200,000.
I mean, it would take you a lot of time to figure out how to do that too.
Well, sure,
You know,
yeah, it would take. Yeah, and you're not even guaranteed to figure it. Just because you like endeavor to do it doesn't mean you even have the the brain cells to like self teach yourself.
Sure.
Anyway, what do we need to talk?
I know people that build their own computers, but not everything in it.
Not every component. Yeah, they're not
every
soldering
component.
the chips.
Right,
They're not
right,
like there's like, you know, micro little
Yeah.
tools that they
But you know, it's I will say, and we'll get to our closing statements in just a second. But I will say I do find it interesting that Nickon, that you immediately decided that you thought that regular cigarettes were worse or
Oh,
less
it's like
tolerable.
I haven't budged a single millimeter on my, and really honestly, if I'm truly honest, the main thing is like if you go, I don't know, if you spend a night out, like I have some friends who smoke cigarettes, and a night out with them, like it doesn't matter how close or far away I am from them, and like they're outside when they're smoking, all that kind of stuff. By the end of the night, my hair smells like cigarettes. And you could literally surround me in a 5x5 closed door room with a bunch of people smoking vapes, and I guarantee you none of that sticks to your hair.
So with
to
you,
your
it all has
clothes,
to
or
do with
anything
the
like that.
smell.
It's
for
the
you,
smell
just
and like I don't care, like okay, whatever. Yes, maybe that guy looks douchey with his e-cigarette, but like I don't really care. You know?
I do care.
So you took it from the standpoint of how is this affecting me, whereas
Yeah.
you're not necessarily taking a standpoint where how am I judging this person?
No, but Nicky, it's not
I
just
mean,
that.
I try not to. I don't know, like whatever. We all do stupid stuff all the time, and
Right,
but-
that's
Just kidding.
It's not about. Here's the thing about it is, it's not. It is the idea that they think that it's not affecting you. I mean, we think it's not affecting us because it's vapor, and we're not sure that we're not sure the repercussions. That's the problem I have with it, is the idea that, hey, I can do this inside because it's vapor and it seems like it goes away, but we're
it's
not
also.
sure.
But it's also not just the fact that it is vapor. It's like the cloud that is created by a cigarette lingers and expands, whereas with the vape thingy, it just like it's a smaller cloud and it dissipates almost instantly.
It dissipates, but there's these molecules go. Where
Yeah, they
does
just
it go?
They just like go somewhere else.
Well,
That's
hey,
what I'm saying.
Matt,
Is you.
Max, wouldn't you? So
It's the same idea.
Let me use an
but
analogy
You can
here.
just see the. You can see and smell.
Let me
the smoke,
let me
but
use an
we
analogy.
just don't
here.
know.
Wouldn't
That's the
you?
problem
Wouldn't
I
you
have with it.
prefer
I get it.
knowing where the stuff is that is affecting you? Because, for example, they, like gas. They put
gasoline,
or
but-
gasoline or
They
just
put a
or
little
gas
smell
or
in
just
it. Yeah,
gas.
yeah,
Yes,
gas
they put smell
vapor.
in there.
They put the smell in there so you know it's there when there's a
Right,
leak.
yeah.
If you don't know where the smell is with the vape pens or the e-cigarettes, I kind of think that's worse. You're like, oh, I can be inhaling this stuff right now and I don't even know it.
That's
Yeah.
very true, Nicky. That's
Look,
very
and
true.
you're right, Nickon. I agree with you. As a moderator, I gotta show both sides some love. I agree with you. I would prefer not to smell like cigarettes. And you're right. If you are out with friends, even if they don't smoke, if you go to like a bar or something, chances are you're gonna smell a little bit like cigarettes by the end of the night or something like that,
Yeah,
right? I
it's
mean,
true.
yeah, even if you're like a little bit farther away from people smoking cigarettes, it's going to get on you somehow.
I mean, that's kind of what I hate about.
Should we wrap it? Let's wrap it up.
Well,
Let's
okay.
wrap it up.
I just to say, I do agree about this. I mean, here's the thing about the smell.
Is
It's
this your closing statement, Max?
No, well, I just want to finish what you. It's not my closing statement to agree with him. That's not my closing statement.
Whoa. Out with it.
Okay, well, he interrupted. I'm just gonna say that's part of why I hate. Where I love them, but I hate them is fire pits, because boy, do those things make you smell.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I love being around them, and actually kind of like the smell of them, but I hate the smell sticking to me. You know?
Right.
Well, anyway, let's hear you guys' closing statements, huh?
All right. Well, I started, so why don't you, I don't care.
All right. I'll here, my
So
closing
you got to have the first word and you get to have the last word? Is that what you're saying?
Good point. All right.
No,
So,
go ahead. I don't mind.
I don't know.
Yeah,
My
go
argument
ahead.
hasn't really changed. It just makes it smellier, and listen. Yeah, we don't know, but in 20 to 50 years, I'm sure we will find out. I'm sure of it. That cigarette secondhand smoke is worse for you than secondhand vape. Yeah, it's a complete guess, but that's my sense. And again, it's because of the cloud that I'm talking about. Cigarette clouds linger. They're bigger. All of that stuff. E-cigarette clouds, even that initial cloud is smaller. So even if it's whatever it's doing, I don't think it's like exploding in every which way into people's lungs. I think it's just whatever vapors do, they just fall, right? Like we learned that with the COVID stuff. It goes out a little bit and then it falls.
Right.
So for those reasons, leave the kids alone is what I'm saying.
For those reasons, I'm out. You ever watch Shark Tank?
Yeah.
They always say that.
Nice,
For those reasons, I'm out.
Nice
I will
reference.
here just
I like
final closing statement. I'm just going to counter argue that little bit that you just said there about vapor. That's what we're talking about. You know, when they're talking about like spittle or they're talking about
Vapors.
COVID. No, but
Droplets.
Droplets. They're
you're
talking
right.
about droplets. Vapor is different. When it's humid out, for instance, that's constantly in the air.
Different.
How is that different? Actually,
This is your
That
closing argument?
No, it's not my closing argument.
Well, then, Max, just come on, do your final
Well, I'm
statement.
just
You're not
saying, though,
arguing anymore. You're giving your final statement. That's the,
Water vapor doesn't just drop to the ground. If it were,
does,
then
I think.
it would turn into just water, is what you're saying.
No, no. Well, first of all, no, it's different. It's different.
I don't know if any of us are qualified.
Yeah, we're clearly not. So make your closing statement.
Okay, I'll just make my closing statement here. Okay, just as a closing statement, finally, I will give a little bit of power to your argument in that I will say, yes, when you do puff an e-cigarette, there isn't a constant stream leaving your cigarette, which is the cigarette. You know, that's the
Right.
That's where the secondhand smoke comes from. Not the secondhand smoke is not really the breath, the exhale
it's
of
not?
the smoker. It's actually the smoke that's coming from
That's
the
just
cigarette.
coming out.
Yeah,
then my argument's even stronger then.
that's true. That's true. I will give you that.
Well, I gave you a little bump at the top, and you're giving me a little bump at the end. So
Yeah, because from what I understand, actually, that's what I understand as that's the dangerous part of secondhand smoke.
Interesting.
Because I think something happens when
the
the
filter?
exhale happens. There's some process that happens. I don't take that with a grain of salt, but most of what causes secondhand smoke cancer and problems to people is the stuff that's leaving the cigarette. Actually.
Interesting.
Now, with that said,
Back to the closing argument.
I feel that e-cigarettes has created a whole new generation of smokers. Actually, you know, because cigarettes had lost whatever credibility they had at all when they finally admitted this causes problems, and it created a whole generation of people that was not enticed by cigarettes. And I mean, I remember throughout, just like on TV shows, people would say, "Oh, cigarettes, that's gross," you know. I mean,
Yeah.
and you just compare that to movies from the 50s and stuff like that, you know, or the 40s and 50s, and people are smoking all the time. And I just think, for me right now, e-cigarettes are more annoying because people feel that they somehow are safer because the science isn't out on it yet. And they feel that they can do it inside. It happened to our older brother before. He was sitting down with a couple friends. One of them decided to take out his e-cigarette. My older brother was like, don't do that in here. The guy put it away. But he felt that he was entitled to do it because he, in his mindset, as proof, you think they're safer too. He felt that he could do it inside because I haven't felt those repercussions yet because the science isn't out yet, you know. And
I think we can all agree. I think, you know what? I really do think that this is the best note to end on. We all agree that the science is not out yet.
But we can all agree that they are bad, though.
Max can't agree to end his.
No, but we can
statement.
agree that. But we can also.
This is still the same sentence that he started.
We should give timed closing statements.
We can still agree.
You know?
We can still agree though that they are bad for you, though. The science is out on that. We've seen that they're
bad to the smoker, but we don't know. We don't know if it's bad to the second-hand person. We just don't. You can suspect that it is. I suspect that it isn't.
Let's all agree that.
And we don't know.
Fair enough.
Let's all agree that.
Fair enough.
With a regular cigarette, you look a little bit cool.
Oh, you definitely look cool.
With
That's gonna take
e-cigarette,
centuries.
You just look stupid.
That's gonna take centuries to make less cool. Like, I don't know how many TV shows, sitcoms
that just has to do with
cigarettes is not.
That just has to do with imagery.
Max, I mean, now you're arguing that.
Well, because it has to do with imagery
that's what I'm saying.
that's been ingrained into our culture.
So I'm saying it's going to take centuries
and
of
commercials that they were allowed to do back in the day. You know?
Of course,
that's why he's saying it's going to take centuries to live that
I'm
down.
agreeing with you.
Yeah. Anyway,
no, I know. I'm just.
You guys, it's been real.
It has been real.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Splitting Hairs with Max, Nicky, and Nickon.
What?
I'm just looking at this American Heart Association article on secondhand vape. Scientists smell risk.
Of course, and I can point to whatever. Yes, the science is out. The science is out or not out. What do you say? It's not out.
Max,
the jury's out.
When there's a debate, there's always going to be things you want to say at the end of it, but you just get what you can in the episode. Thank you for tuning in to another edition.
It is out. It is out.
Science is out.
Kind of, I think.
No, it's not.
I'm looking at an article from the American Heart Association.
Yeah, they're saying, hey, it could be,
Hey, you guys, if we don't seem enlightened on this topic, please enlighten us. Comment in the comment section, write a review and say how we were wrong or how we were right in this episode. Anyway.
Yeah, again, say how Max was wrong and how Nickon was right.
Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Farewell. I always have to say something.
Tune in next time.
Bye-bye.
Nicky, say that?
All right.